Hi everybody, Dr. Jason here. In a previous video we talked about how your lifestyle choices, how you can dictate, right, how good or how fast your metabolism is. You can have control over the thing that controls metabolism, which is your hormones. How do you do that? There are ways that you can eat, move, and manage stress that change your body's chemistry. In this video we want to talk about how to lower the fat storing hormones. In the last video we talked about things to do to turn on, like a light switch, the fat burning hormones. That's great. But here's the problem, and I don't make the rules. You can do everything as far as lifestyle to turn on your fat burning hormones. However, in the presence of any, even one of the fat storing hormones we're about to talk to today, they basically nullify each other. In fact, that's not even true. Really, one fat storing hormone can trump all 6 of the fat burning hormones. So you have to do those things we talked about, but you also have to do the lifestyle things to lower the fat storing hormones. Okay, so let's talk about the category of eating. The obvious one is sugar, the hormone we're trying to not get rid of. You can't live without insulin, it'll save your life. But again, it's the imbalance or the out of control nature of insulin, which is a fat storing hormone. Sugar in all its forms, right? So brown sugar, honey, even agave, that's a myth that doesn't spike insulin, and it does. Insulin, all of the fat burning hormones are nullified in the presence of insulin. Insulin is the hormone that takes sugar out of harm's way. If sugar lingers in your bloodstream, that's why diabetics lose their feet, they lose their eyesight, they have heart attacks, they go on kidney dialysis. The smallest, most delicate blood vessels of the body will eventually be injured by insulin, by sugar. So you don't control it. You're not the one that consciously takes sugar out of harm's way and brings it to the cells where it's needed for nourishment and fuel. Insulin does that. So in a body that's gaining weight or has a blood sugar problem, certainly diabetics, this is breaking down, and there are foods that aggravate this, that make it worse. So sugar by far. But it's not just Dunkin' Donuts. Let's skip over here to the hidden sugars. Juices, yogurts, alcohol, deli meats. There are some organic, healthier versions of deli meat, but you have to really look at those labels. To wake up and have a big glass of orange juice when your goal is to lose weight. Why? Because that orange juice in that susceptible body, in other words, in that body that is insulin resistant. In a body that's insulin resistant, the body is resistant to insulin. Insulin is trying to take sugar out of harm's way, and it can't do that. So it lingers, and what the body does is it just turns it to fat because it knows if it lingers in the bloodstream, there's going to be damage. So again, in an insulin resistant body, what is the cure? How do we support that? We have to lower the response of insulin, and there's foods that make it worse. So sugars, hidden sugars by far. Excess protein, this is one that we talked about in the last video that surprises people. Protein actually triggers a fat burning hormone called growth hormone, but too much. Usually it's big steaks or a second or third portion that will actually spike the same hormone, insulin, so therefore it'll store fat. When you combine protein and sugar, it's probably worst of all. You could spike insulin 200 to 300%. So that's pretty much every sandwich you've ever had. Okay? So sugar, hidden sugar, excess protein all spike the major fat storing hormone, insulin. Starches and grains, I guess that could be considered, to me, from a biological perspective, that's a hidden sugar because most people all day long, it's a staple. They're eating sugar, starches, and grains all day long. And again, in their susceptible body, insulin-resistant body, it's making worse the fat-burning hormone insulin. So that would be bread and pasta and cookies and cakes and muffins. A lot of people are going gluten-free. That's good, but gluten-free doesn't mean grain-free. And there's some things about grains these days, whether they've been hybridized or GMO, it's essentially a foreign protein to a lot of people. And that inflammatory response when they eat it, they're not doing it consciously, they're not trying to gain weight or hurt themselves, but they will spike the fat storing hormone. So again, if you eliminate or at least drastically lower that, you'll have a lot of success. Fruits, again, I can consider that a hidden sugar for most people. Of course fruits are are healthy. They have so many vitamins and minerals and fiber. But again, when I eat a piece of fruit, it's different than when my patients eat a piece of fruit. It's the same piece of fruit, but their bodies have a problem with insulin. So fruit will spike insulin. A great rule of thumb, we've talked about this before, is if you have fruits, to have very few compared with the amount of vegetables that you're having. 3 to 1 is a good ratio of vegetables to fruits. And the berries are the best because why? Because they lower, or I should say they spike insulin less than most other fruits. You know the sweet fruits, the pineapples and the mangoes, a lot of the summer fruits, unfortunately, the grapes, you eat a whole bowl of them. It's called the glycemic or the insulin index. There are some fruits that raise this fat storing hormone less than others. So stick with the berries. But in the beginning, if you're struggling with weight, I wouldn't have any fruits at all for a couple weeks, maybe 30 days. MSG is a food enhancer. Sometimes it's called modified food starch, so you have to read the label. It might not say MSG. It increases flavor and appetite. It's a chemical, guys. It's just a chemical that's designed to affect your brain, and it does affect a lot of the fat burning hormones like leptin, and so it could also increase the fat storing hormone insulin by hundreds of %. So again, as far as food goes, all these things will either raise a fat storing hormone insulin or lower the fat burners. So don't do this. All right. Now, what are the other fat storing hormones that we're trying to lower, or how we describe as modulate them? Just kind of calm them down a little bit. All the ones that I circled in blue. So insulin is a great one, but the other two are, and there are really just 3 main fat storing hormones: estrogen and cortisol. Estrogen, more prevalent obviously in women, which is why women struggle with their weight more. We have more testosterone, which is the main fat burner. So estrogen can be controlled, of course, by eating cruciferous vegetables, but a lot of commercial food, in other words, commercial dairy or commercial meat, those cows are not living like they should be in nature. In other words, they should be eating grass, but instead they're eating grains and they're eating soy, and they're being injected with needles this big of hormones, right? So that they could make 50 gallons of milk instead of 5 like they did 50 years ago, and now you consume those animals. So eating a lot of commercial meat is a problem and will raise estrogen. So don't do that. Eat grass-fed beef. And the last one might even be the biggest one of all. You may have heard cortisol be called the stress hormone, and also called the belly fat hormone, because of that connection between stress and gaining weight. So best way to lower the stress hormone is, how are you thinking? How are you managing stress? There's lots of things that we'll talk about in the future, but the biggest one, of course, is sleep. Prioritizing your sleep, really cherishing your sleep. Any kind of pain or inflammation in the body, that has to be taken care of. We often have patients that unless we take care of that, they will have little or no success burning fat, even if they're doing everything right as far as exercise and diet. So keep that in mind. Great way to lower cortisol if you need to move. See, a negative as far as exercise is overtraining. Again, that body needs rest and recovery, and it's working too much. So long walks in nature, not on your cell phone, not gossiping with your friends, not in your head worrying about the things people worry about, right? About money and their job and their spouses. Kind of connecting in nature, so, and getting sunshine at the same time. Anything that will, decompress you. So yoga, meditation, beautiful music, things like that. So again, in summary, what are we trying to do? I call these the ice hormones, right? Insulin, cortisol, estrogen. It's a little mnemonic, because what are we trying to do? We're trying to cool down, right? We're trying to lower hormones that store fat. And again, how you eat, how you move, and how you manage stress makes a huge difference in being able to lower these hormones so that you can improve your metabolism. Hope that's helped. Bye-bye for now. Hey everyone, Dr. Jason again. If you're getting some value from these videos, especially if you're getting a lot of value, then please like this video, send it to people you care about, subscribe to our channel, and most importantly, if you have some comments, if there's things that you'd like to see me answer, some questions, or some topics that you haven't seen before, it'd be my personal challenge to help you out. So please leave a comment below. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.